Do you need to learn how to build custom suspension that requires a little fabrication in your life with maybe a special project you've got going on? Well, stick around. And like last week, I'll show you how to build a Y-bone that when your suspension goes to travel, that's definitely gonna hit. Plenty of good lessons coming right up. Warning, we're just having fun. If you take stuff too serious, this channel may not be for you, buddy. Well, welcome back to Puddins.fab.shop. And guys, I'll just tell you, we've had a crazy week with some family stuff going on. Maybe we'll elaborate more at the end of the video. But for now, I got out here. We're kind of midday Sunday, which is weird work schedule for me. And I'm getting going here. And I get to looking at this. And I think last week I was in such a rush where we could get out of town that I focused so much on making sure I landed my bar right here and exactly right there. I didn't even consider how we're about to hit right there when that cycles up. So maybe that's something we'll be addressing in this video. In this video, we are gonna look at doing our coilover mounts. We're gonna look at probably fixing that thing that I just pointed out. Once we get some of that figured out, we should be able to put our wheels and tires back on this thing, give it a little bounce test, make sure stuff's looking fine. That's when we would have found that that was gonna hit. Once we get her where she's doing some good bouncing, then we'll probably look at doing like some gussets. We'll do something with this little thing here, kind of gusset it up. Our tabs and stuff, we may throw some gussets on. We may get butt nasty and even try to support that mount down to the frame somehow. And we are gonna look at finishing up the rear fabrication on our Toyota Stout. What's a Toyota Stout? This is one of 4,000, I think, Toyotas that they ever imported and sold in the US. They probably imported more. I don't know what I'm talking about. There ain't a lot. She's a rare bird, baby. If you happen to be new, we swapped it onto a 92 Toyota chassis, so it has that drivetrain underneath the hood. That's right, baby, 22 RE. Y'all know why I call it that? Because when you get to grabbing gears on that 5-speed and she kicks sideways, she go, hee-hee! That's why they added the E on the 22R. Most folks don't know that. I'm full of good information. So that's the rough plan. That's what it is. The question now is, where do we start? So originally, before I ever built the suspension, I actually cut out some factory cross members and stuff, and I added this one in, and we did it off an educated guess. And my educated guess was based on mounting the coilovers like they were mounted on my Model A. Which, as you can see, even though it's got a 4-link, they're mounted sideways underneath there at about a 30-degree angle. And we could do that. Here is our coilovers. These are from Alden American. And I was talking with a gentleman from there, and he just sent these out to me. And I usually don't like doing sponsorships like that because I don't really want to promote people's stuff unless I've used it multiple times or I know if I truly believe in it. But they are a American-based company, and anyhow, they took good care of me, so we appreciate them. And if we were still wanting to mount this like we were just talking about, our cross member here is perfect. Here's the thing, though. In my head, and I know we can mount it like that, and you're going to get some deflection in the bushings, and it's going to be A-okay, because just like that Model A, it runs it and it don't have a problem. I think he's about to say, however. However, with the link suspension, it creates an arc on that rear end. Meaning, if you look at that rear end, and that rear end wasn't currently welded in place, and we could take it up and down, as it goes up and down, it actually is not going to go perfectly straight. It has a little arc to it, depending on the length of your bars and stuff like that. Which means, technically, as it goes up and down, it also goes front to back. Very small amount, but it does it. So in my mind, we're better off to mount them like this, so as that moves forward some or backward some, it pivots that way. Where if it's turned this way and it moves forward some and backward some, it's taking deflection in our bushings because that ain't really made to pivot that way. That makes sense, right? Right. All right, step one. How many times did I just say right? Don't worry about that. Step one is to mount the coilovers, but to do that, we got to get that bar out of there because it needs to be further back technically. And also we have this failed gas tank relocation kit. I think she can come out of there too. Housekeeping? Me clean your dog bed? Good thing I just got a new pack of Sawzall blades. Cause all I'm doing is building a bunch of stuff we gotta redo. It's alright guys, do not be discouraged. I am not. Good thing about metal is if you cut it wrong, just weld it back together. If you weld it in the wrong place, just cut it out of there. Eventually you'll redo it enough till you get it right. Don't be a quitter. Ha-ha! Nothing like making a scrap pile off a fresh build. Hi-ya! Whoa! Whoa, Betsy! You gonna fight me? You wanna get buck nasty? I'll get buck nasty! Couple of welds down the drain, guys. Those welds are looking good too. We're just gonna leave those on there to show them off, huh? Yes, messenger. What are me and mom doing? Playing past love notes back and forth? Dear husband, I love you so much. I cannot wait to see you tonight for a warm embrace of a hug to show how much I love you. Is that not what it says? Oh, never mind. It just says will do. What's that? Well, I know you're a good looking whale. And I hate to do this to you, but I mean, it's just time for you to go away. Guys, if you're going to backtrack as much as I do, you better keep you some good flap attacks on hand. We're almost there. One last weld. Woo! Work hard. Grind time. That flap attack's worn out. And I'll be honest, I'm happy grind time's over. But now that it is, we got a lot more room for activities in the back. Golly. Still can't believe I messed up on that Y bone and we're gonna have to backtrack there. Dang rookie. I knew the cross member was maybe. I knew the gas tank relocation was kinda questionable. That one I just totally missed. All right, with that out of there, we can actually look at mounting our coilovers, but we're not gonna actually use our coilover. We're gonna try to find some 1x1 tubing and we're gonna make some fake ones. Now these, if you look up the part numbers, they have a little chart of their coilovers and it'll tell you the extended length, it'll tell you compressed length, the overall amount of travel, and it'll tell you their estimated ride height, meaning when you get weight on it, where it's gonna sit. Talking with the gentleman there, I don't know a lot about coilovers, guys, so I don't know a lot about like what kind of spring rating and stuff we need. That is their 654. Don't worry, I lost the sheet that has the information on it we need. And I think he recommended a 180 pound spring. And looking on that chart, extended length is supposed to be 13 and a half. Compressed is like 10. So that gives us 3.5 on a range or something like that. What I do remember was the ride height, because that's what I was looking at is right now we've got that rear end sat where we want this thing to sit when there's weight on it. And that's important to know. So if we put that coil in there now with that full extended and then the weight of this truck and everything gets on there and it compresses some, it's actually gonna be sitting too low. So that's why we can't just put that in there. The ride height said it would be 12 to 12 and a half, meaning it was gonna compress 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Little range there. So I measured this and it's supposed to be 13 and a half, but actually center to center is 13 3/4. We know it could possibly go an inch and a half. I think I'm gonna just say, let's split the difference from 12 inches to 12 and a half where they said ride height would be. Let's just build us some little strut rods that have the center holes at 12 1/4. 3/4 of an inch down, that's where we'll drill our hole. From there, we'll go our 12 1/4, and then we want another 3/4 of an inch. So right here's where we'll cut. Going live, let's chop it. Batten down the hatches, Captain. She's a gooder. Oh my goodness. Oh my, oh, the precision. Oh, the accuracy. Since being accurate here actually matters, right now would be a great time to have a drill press. But I just drill and press. Now the question is, how good did we do on going straight through and where we came out the other side? Well, before we worry about that, how good did we do hitting center to center? 12 1/4 dead nuts. We're good like that. Woo! I think we actually nailed it. Our measurement on that side matches from the edge to the center. We're actually doing good here, folks. Don't need no stinking drill press. Drill press? Never heard of her. This side, or the second one, took 2 tries. Drilled good there. Got a little off there. Luckily, rotator, try again. You know it'd be super helpful right now? Bolts. I wasn't sure what length of bolts we needed, because the way I was saying I wanted to mount it versus then I came out here and decided we may mount it a different way. So the bolts I have are, I stopped and got some, they're just entirely too long and they're the wrong size. And since it's a Sunday, I'd have to run to the next town over to get anything, and I just don't want to. I think this is some 1/2 inch round rod. She's solid. I'm gonna cut us some of this, and we're just gonna pin it for now. Of course, I'll have to get bolts. I know just cutting pins seems silly, but guys, the closest place to me, they sell like grain hardware, you know, those ones that anodize them goofy colors. So even if we went and got proper stuff, we'd have to replace it. So I just don't feel like wasting that money or time. Now, I do not have any type of lower mount. We're gonna have to build it. I don't even have tabs for these upper mounts. We gotta figure it all out, guys. So right there, if we were at 90, we're actually looking to go over to right there at 60. That's our 30 degrees. So that's why we need this, where now we can kind of go closer this way, down this way. Do we need to go back? Maybe we'll turn it sideways and cantilever the damn thing. Probably not. But we can use this and do a little speculation in the situation. Now remember, we can't get close to there or we're gonna be hitting like we're gonna be up there. Think about it. And to properly guesstimate some of that, we can bring this over here. Don't worry about the top. I'm more gonna focus on the height of the bottom, because we know this just needs to be down about an 1.5 inches versus what it is now. So I can kind of eyeball that. Here's a real professional technique. I noticed when I had that my finger was touching the frame rail back here, about right in there, and it happened to be right in line with the center of our coilover, which means in theory, if we kind of put that to there, we could then use that at 30 degrees to kind of find where we're aiming for here. Of course, this would kind of be out this way more, but with this, knowing we could be around in there, we can kind of use this to see how our height is looking down there, and then we can kind of speculate from there where we actually want to put our cross member round tubing piece or whatever. See, there's some real genius going on here. Now from here, our tubing's 1 3/4 inches, so almost 2 inches, so we'll come over about 7/8. That's where our tubing would be, maybe right in there at the most. And then if this was coming this way at that angle, we can see that that should clear. And then off of that, we could build tabs over to here. I think I'm gonna move this line back. I think I'm gonna aim for the center of the mounting bolt, or bolt, center of this thingy. I mean that bushing, or upper bushing, to aim for about right in there. Of course, we'll still follow that same angle. This is all ballpark, because we may actually take that up with our tabs, because the higher we can take it, the more clearance we get from them hanging down low. We come up too high though, and we're gonna be hitting our bed. All right, I like it, guys. I think right here, whatever this measures, that's where we're going for the center of our cross member. With our prep to weld, we mark center, 21.5 from the back of the frame. 21.5 from the back of the frame. And we don't want to just trust that, so we'll go off the bed mount as well. I get 5 3/8. Measure this side, 5 3/8. So before we measure across there to see how much to cut this, let's chickadee check this out. Just out of curiosity, we got a bed mount right here. So I want to measure forward to there. So forward to there, 3 inches gets us about right here, which if we had an 1 3/4 tubing, that's about where we would need to be for clearance. Luckily, I got the bed floating right here. So there's the mount that lines up there. So if we come over here and look forward 3 inches, well, you can see that there's plenty of room right in there. We're not gonna hit this cross member. We know that sits on the mount, so we've got all that room up in there. We shouldn't have to worry about that one neither. But pudding, what's that mean? Well, you know how I was talking about the higher we can go, the better. I mean, in theory, we could probably even set that on there. It's gonna be less than 2 inches. And up here, you can see that if we go our 2 inches, that yeah, we could clear like that. And actually, setting it on top of it with how I'm gonna brace this one in, we could do the same thing back here for some strength. And then it would actually kind of match. Or what we could do is cut one this same width, but actually notch it where it drops down on there some, but it sticks out on top. And I think that's actually what we're gonna do. So let's see. Let's go 41 13/16. I'll tell y'all guys what, it's just hard to find good help nowadays. At least one of us in here working hard. Well, I don't know about that other one. Oh, you're awake, your eyes are open. Sorry, sir, didn't mean to interrupt that nap. Let her rip, tater chip. Boy, if he wasn't awake, he is now. I about lost a toe. Well, I guess I can't call angle iron worthless. Usually I'm not a huge fan of it, but for being able to mark something like this, angle iron comes in pretty handy. And I can tell you what else is handy. That's wiping the oil and crap off the ends of your tube so your marker don't get all oiled up. Just give it an old polish job. And then we can use this as our guide to mark this. If you don't put squigglies on there, how do you know what to cut out, huh? There she be, notch it out. With both sides notched, let's go for a plop. And she's a little tight fit. Didn't take much. If I remember correctly, I said 21.5 to our center, 1 3/4 divided by 2, come back 7/8, and that should give us 20 5/8. And those marks right there are where we're aiming for that tube to touch. Oh, except it curves some, so actually we probably need to go that way a 1/16 as well. Man, we're not gonna get that finicky. Actually, yes, we are. We're gonna go 20 11/16. And 20 11/16. Tack it! Here I go rushing again. I should have tacked both sides before I just full tacked that one. Luckily, we're still good. It just barely moved a hair. Oh, there it goes. We are just gonna leave this tacked in, kind of like our tabs and other cross member, until we actually get to cycle this. To do our mounts, we're gonna start with our upper mount. It's just gonna be a very simple tab coming off of this. Gonna get our angle there. I'm even okay with this kind of being up because we know we have clearance, like I said. And I'm gonna measure from our cross member to the center of our hole. And I think I like 1.25 inches. Sounds good. And come square off that bottom. We want us a good center line to go off of. This right here is our 1.75 inches. From touching that edge, I said we want to go over 1.25 inches. I have to make a mark just where we can square the sucker up. And I know this is kind of, I don't know, maybe not the greatest info, but guys, these little details of making a tab that flows good and looks good, even though a bed's gonna be on it. Boy, that line I just drew is crookeder than you know what. That thing's crookeder than a politician. Try again. We know that's gonna be a 1/2 inch hole for our bolt. And what I was saying, guys, is something very like purposely thought out, like a little tab like this. It does really make stuff look better. We said we're gonna go 1.5 inches, and now we can entertain connecting these. That should fit up to that tubing perfect, so we'll probably come out past that. Let's go 5/16 and 5/16. Lay our straight edge, connect those dots, and now if we cut that out and we make that perfect out of middle, we should have a tab that works exactly how we need it. Unlike half the stuff I've built on this truck so far. That's about right. Inside here, I could trim out a little more of that, but that's okay. Yes, sir. Now, if you had some hole saws, you could actually hole saw a perfect circle the size you need, and then cut your tab off of that. Or you can do what we're about to do, which is just notch out a ton of little cuts out of here, and then we'll smooth her up with a flapper. You know how to eat an elephant? One bite at a time, baby. Ha-ha! Little more loober doober. Bebop. Now we got her looking like a monster with teeth. Nom 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 nom. Oh, the little very scary monster ain't no scary with no teethies, huh? Alright, sorry. Been a little ridiculous. Yeah, right there. Inside there is my least concern as far as being like perfect, because that's where we're gonna weld it. You all right? He's all right. Now what you don't know is I've already done 3 other of these. So, man, that is a good matchup. Even that, it's not perfect. This one could be rounded a little more. So, excuse me. My turn to cough, Theo. I'm gonna lay that edge that's matching really nice there. I'm gonna lock them babies down. That side is absolutely perfect. And I'll use that flapper and just tune that little corner up right there. With a nice matching pair, all that matters is does it fit on there? And it does. Hell, I knew it would. On a tab like that, the last thing I like to do is actually use this wire wheel. It does a really good job of just knocking the sharp point off the edge there. Dulls it out just enough. You hit that wire wheel with that finger, you'll know it. Not too shabby. Little cleanup there. In theory, the wider our spread on the coilovers, the less body roll we should get. So we probably want to hug as close to the outside frame rail as we can. I don't want it right on there. I mean, around 3/4 of an inch of gap would be fine. So I just kind of give us a mark there by eyeball. I'm gonna move it over 1/8 of an inch. That's an even 4 inches in from the end. And if I can be honest, we may have messed up in the fact that we should have took this further back, because I was not thinking about the tabs off the rear end side are probably gonna have to come down and then kind of L-shaped back. That way we can get clearance for the coilover. And where this bar is at right now, may have too far forward. The easy way we can tell is to just kind of tack this in place where we think it needs to be, and then we'll get our strut rod that should be the proper length for ride height where the rear end is now, and we'll just kind of eyeball it and see. So we'll take our tabs, set those right there, making sure we're at our 4-inch mark. This would certainly be a lot easier with the bolts instead of my setup I've got going here. But I'm just gonna do one at a time, meaning we'll get this tab. And then I'll make sure this is squeezed good and it eyeballs straight. Then we'll get this tab. You may notice I did aim up, kind of like I'd mentioned I may do anyhow. Let's see what kind of angle we got on here. Well, right there's 30 degrees perfect, and that's actually not good, because with it perfect, it's hitting right here. So really, those tabs need to rotate down just a hair. All right, I didn't put a big tack wheel on that for a reason. Break them off and rotate it down just a hair. Now when I clock that forward, we hit our 30 degrees and we'll have some clearance. Then we can pull that. We can get this. And we can start to look and see if there's a possibility of a lower mount. And to see that, I actually want to get down here. Oh, like old Crocodile Dundee stalking his prey. Crocodile Dundee. Steve Irwin. I do apologize to that absolute legend. My brain ain't braining. All right, now we can kind of swing this forward. Oh yeah, we can definitely make something work. We'll put our angle finder on there and swing that till we hit 60. I know we were clearing from there with our coilover on there. And you see how this is kind of, it ain't all the way behind. It's actually almost about flush with the back of that. So we are gonna have to kind of kick a tab over and maybe circle it or hang it off the front some. And or we can cut the 4 tacks on each side of this tube and scoot that sucker back about I don't know, just a little bit, inch or 2. Let me eyeball it, see what I'm feeling here. Sure got that tacked in there good. Do not fear, for the pry bar is here. Just pop. I know you want to. Come on. There we go. I can't get in on this one tack. Someone put some tabs in the way. Not sure who did that. We'll get those other ones and it'll roll off there. Use that flapper and clean up our tacks. I put us a mark now from 19 inches to there. We went 20 and 11/16, so that's an inch and 11/16 further back. So as long as we line that up just perfect, and we make sure this side is just perfect, we'll tack that, and hopefully 3rd time's the charm. Just go around 2 tacks that are easy to get to in case I need to move it again. With our fake coilover, I'm gonna set this baby right at 30 degrees and then give her a little pinch. And of course that'll lock that in. And now we know we gotta build a mount from right there to over there. And it's gotta kind of kick back to clear down there. I was tired of working in a mess, so I had to kind of pick up our old fabrication dust pile grows. And we're gonna start to figure out these tabs to do that. Cut us a notch that'll fit onto our axle tube. And what we'll do, you can see I favored it where some of this is towards the back. Then we'll bring that over there. And what I can do is actually pivot this until I find our center. Put our marker in there. Do our best to mark center. Ka-chow. Probably need to leave us a little more material right in there. We'll just pivot it, mark again. There we go. Oh, I think I made a little cross-eyed smiley face. When you're good, you're good. Looks good to me. Now, we know from our top that on the bottom or the coilover side, we want to use at least an 1.5 inch circle around that. And we got to come this way. And we probably don't need that. And unlike Mortsky, we round the corner, so we'll probably round that. And we know we need to go over there-ish. Now we just got to guess how much do we need hanging out to actually be able to get to that coilover. And I'm hoping about right there will be enough. We leave that. Let's take the top out a 1/16. That looks better. Same thing though. If we can radius that inside corner, we will. With them dots connected, you slice her out. She looks a little crazy, but nothing too wild. Here's what counts though. If we put that there until that matches there. If that was there in its place, about like so, with those clear, and it looks like it would to me. There's good news and bad news. Good news is I think it's gonna work. Bad news is we get to cut 4 of these as a 1/4 inch thick plate. Well, I cut out 2 of them yesterday. Marker out. I think he's ready, guys. Good boy. Hey, there went my gram. To make sure these babies are matching perfect, again, just lay your 2 straight edges. Use that to get us a good mark in there. I ain't got my marker. So now we got a little guide. Funny, the other day, Derek from the Bowling Brothers, we were doing a little text messaging, and he said, do you still have to hand cut every tab for, like when I build suspension? Yes, Derek, I do. I don't have a fancy laser cutter or the ability to use one. You give me a laser cutter, I'd probably knock this shop over. Live, this just in, Pot County legend cuts his shop in half with evil laser cutter. Hell, I guess I'm just old-fashioned, Derek. I'm so old-fashioned, I use dang wire wheels to round corners. Probably didn't even know that was a thing. With our holes drilled, match up that same edge right there. And now I'm actually gonna use the flapper, and any of the areas that don't match, like down here, I wanted to wait, so I know that gets radiused exactly the same. So I'll just run the flapper around here, deburr the edges one more time with the wire wheel, and we'll have 2 matching tabs. Theo drove me to town, and we finally have some 1/2 inch bolts. Let me show you one of the other big reasons I stopped yesterday. As I went to kind of check the fit with the lower, looking this way, I realized that our upper tabs are on there crooked, because those can kind of slide up and slide down. I realized that even with a bolt in there, it's going to be crooked, kind of like that, which of course kicks our coilover over like that. That one there is perfect though. So I think we're actually just going to cut the tack on this one and take this one off. Now that we got some bolts, we're going to do it correctly. I knew it. So check this out. Before I went in yesterday, I remembered that I had some different shock bushings from the front of this that come with their shocks. Well, I'll be danged if it ain't about the same width. Now these are 1/2-inch bolts, but I like to get a 7/16 washer because then it actually fits the 1/2 inch. It's kind of like 2x4s in wood. You know, I don't know why if you get a 1/2-inch bolt it don't actually fit the 1/2 inch shank. We are going to use this and this. And I think that's going to be just about right to set the gap on our tabs. One washer, one bushing, one tab. And hey, we got these things, they're magic. They're called threads, where we can actually tighten that down and hold it nice. In theory, if this one's nice and square, when all that pinches together, that should, if those ends are all flat, square all that up. So that tacked in place. That gap up there, like I said, about perfect. And that is looking good, guys. Before, if I'd picked that up like that, that sucker was leaning harder than Michael Jackson in one of his music videos, guys. That was just over there. Tighten that baby up, get our lower one started, got it spaced out properly where it's the same. And as I go up that way, our tab is actually hitting that weld right there. And that's holding our tabs away. So I need to take off some of this right here. A little carbide's perfect for a job like that. Hey yo, that's what we were after. Now it sits nice and flush. Tracer tabs, and now we get to clean up that axle. That little roll lock will do. There it is. He's locked in. Check your angle. Measure your gap. Then we'll set our angle and give her a tack. You doggy. That cleaned up, tighten that stuff up, shove her up in place. Let's measure from that tab to that tab to the inside. 2 and 2 1/4. 2 and 2 1/4. 26.4 on our angle. 26.5. We'll take it. We want to make sure all that stuff has a real good tack on it. So I basically welded the ends of the tabs. I wrap a little weld around there because we're going to remove that strut. And I'm going to cut these 2 pieces of C-channel that actually has this rear end locked in place because we can move this rear end now. And we're going to do that just where I can jack up on it. And we're going to start figuring out how much I'm going to have to manipulate this Y bone. That's why they call me Backtrack Bobby. There ain't hardly a damn thing on this rear suspension we ain't done twice. She's free! Here we go. Let's highlight our mess up. I know it's gonna move up some, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Shoot, it may do it. Oh, it's so close. There's still gap. All right, it just touched it. And as that touches, it almost bottoms out in our C notch. I thought we were gonna have to cut that tube out of there completely. Since we know this is nice, strong metal, because it's 1.5 DOM, 1/4 inch thick, I actually think we can do a little notch on this sucker just to be able to get that go up a little more, and it'll probably be okay. Got her marked where we're gonna aim for. I did go about probably 3/16 of an inch wider than what I marked over there, just to account for some room to put some plate in there, because we are gonna have to box that up. Hack her up enough, and you can peel her open like a tuna can, because that is so thick. That's kind of hard to cut. Don't worry, flapper to attacker, we'll get her looking good. Now, because clearly I've had such a success rate with my rear suspension build here, I'm gonna go ahead and cut us out a boxing plate, because I do believe this is gonna work. Get her shape. And I actually wanna go just a little wider than that. I think we'll make this piece out an 1/8 inch. That box in there should still be plenty strong. That'll keep her a little lower profile, and we'll just try to overlap it there, where then we can burn that in with weld and smooth her out good. Now in the end, we're gonna have to oblong it out, since that's oblonged out. And that right there is about what we're after. Anything's a workbench if you try hard enough. All right, we're gonna put a little curve in this, trying to use our sheet metal brake here. I kind of drew some lines on there just to give us a little something to follow. And the secret with this is not going all out. Just give her a little bump like that. Just help it kind of relax. And you gotta move it. Bump, bump, move it. Bump, bump, move it. Bump, bump, move it, and groove it. Move and groove, baby. And you can see, as you start to do that, well, it starts to curve. You know, we ain't giving her much. It'll do it. Ha-ha! Had to give her one more series of bends, and look at that. Nice fit. Pretty confident. But before I full commit and weld that in, I want to get her tacked into place. We better go try it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Going up. All right, we're in the C notch. And we got plenty of gappage. It's dropping a shadow, so it's probably hard for y'all to see. There. Look at them fingertips. Now that we know that's good to go, I had Theo kind of eyeball it, make sure he thought it was going to work too. He said we're good. Gave me one. Paul up, he ain't got a thumb. But instead of pulling that back out of there just to weld it up, to put it back in there to then test everything, this rear end's got a full come out where we can weld up all of our tabs and stuff like that. So we're just going to leave that piece tacked in, and for the first time we're going to look at actually mocking in our coilovers next. Just slowly jack her up here till we hit our hole, about right there. All right, we are on our coilovers now, and actually let me put another tack weld on this cross member. I forgot that one only had two. We'll bounce that baby twice and that thing just snap off there. Ooh, here we go, here we go, here we go. One jack stand. Jackass. Here's why I say jackass. I seen some fluid over here and I'm like, what's that? Guys, I guess when I cut this out, I wasn't paying attention. I sliced right through our brake line on accident. That's a new one. I'm really struggling this go around, ain't I? Here we go. Jack number 3. And this thing is sitting on its own custom rear suspension for the first time. And that looks good, guys. Man, that looks tough. I don't want to bounce it too hard. Oh man, that's gonna ride good. Holy cow, is that gonna ride good. We need to shove this truck forward and sit the bed down on that thing, get some more weight on it, and then we can kind of eyeball it and see, are we sitting low enough in the back, too low, too high? Yeah! Oh! Guys, I went back there to push on the thing and it just looked so cool. It got me pumped up. I had to get some of my energy out. I about kicked that damn door down. I was so excited. Are you looking at me, door? You want one? I am, guys, it may be whooping me. I may have to keep backtracking, but it is looking sweet on the back of that thing. Damn! Damn! Forward march! Ah! Whoa! Overachiever. It looks sweet when you look underneath here too, like that. Here's our last bed bolt to get dropped in. Give her a little plop and drop. All right, let's see. Let's see. Woo! I think it looks good, guys. So one thing I didn't tell y'all was, I think it was last go around when I was setting that height of the C channel. I think I forgot to mention, I think I'd said 4 3/4. I actually decided to change my mind and I changed it to 5 inches and picked it up 1/4 inch. And that's because with those lowering blocks, it looked like the back was sagging just a hair. Not a lot, but just a hair. So I actually wanted to pick it up just a hair. Our wheel looks freaking perfect in there. We nailed that. Boy, howdy did we nail that. And maybe our concrete's throwing us off again. This stuff ain't the best. We're actually reading dead nuts 24 5/8, which is what I'd marked it before. So we actually put it back exactly where it was. Just this time it ain't with a bunch of stacked lowering blocks on leaf springs. It's actually a suspension. Seeing right there, it don't look like the booty's sagging. So maybe it's just where I have it on this uneven concrete. Either way, I can promise you it looks good. We're not changing that. We nailed our measurement we said we were aiming for. And apparently it's a good thing I'd change that to 5 inches, because if not, we'd actually be sitting a little lower in the back. Now those coilovers, you can add preload to it and stuff, which will pick it up some. So we have a little adjustability in that. But as far as right now, I'm super happy with everything, guys. No changes required. Look at all that clearance we have, guys. Ton of clearance in the rear. Those hanging thing back there is the front leaf spring mount, Theodore, where our link bar goes to. I think we did a pretty good job on that. There's your proof, guys. Even if you get stuff wrong a couple times, don't let it defeat you. Keep on pushing, keep on kicking, and you'll get her where you want her. With the weight of the bed on there, I actually want to give it a little test bounce. Oh, woo! I don't know about the front, but I can guarantee you the back of this thing is going to ride so dang good. That thing's going to be smooth, criminal smooth. Little confirmation in the situation that everything looks pretty good. We're ready to start pulling this apart. Stupid brake thing we have yet to address. That's okay, because now we got more brake stuff to address. And obviously, guys, this stuff comes apart real easy. It's almost like it was built for this or something. Now our link bars, if you didn't see the video with them, when I built all that, they are full welded. So we don't need to change nothing on them except our aluminum bushings for welding. Now obviously when we go back together for final time, we'll need to actually swap those out to our rubber bushings. her Y-bone, wishbone, dog bone, whatever you want to call her. Don't forget, we got to weld up that little notch. In fact, we just weld that baby up. Slick her out. That looks G-U-D. It looks good. We gotta go for a reload. We're burning through some wire, baby. Ow. Shoo! That's pretty. Right, do a little welding on this. We got a lot more welding to do. But actually, guys, I'm gonna have to take a trip here shortly. And I ain't ate all day. I think we want to grab us a bite real quick because I do not want to go on a trip hungry. Here we go. Give me some Taco Boy. Perfect travel meal. Some of y'all like, what do you mean you gotta make a trip, you gotta travel? What are you talking about? Guys, I finished this food. We're gonna take this truck to Gusset City. We're about to get buck nasty on it. All right, to start this trip off, a minute ago, I welded up any of our cross members into here. But I didn't get our tabs yet, so we're going to weld our tabs. We're going to gusset this sucker up, and we're going to start up here on this front one. Our tabs, I'm going to put our bushings and spacers back in. When we weld it, we don't want it pulling or leaning or coming or going. We want it to be like a good boy and stay. That's not how you want to start. Gosh darn it, left my gas off. Try again. That's what I'm about to name this whole truck. Hey, let's take old Try Again up to the parts house. Why you call it Try Again? Because I had to do everything at least 3 times. We're welding now, baby. Get our tabs all welded up. We're gonna look at yep. We're gonna look at bracing this. Let's go 1 3/8 inches. We'll go 2.5 tall and 5 wide. For those measurements, we can actually just take poster board and make us a template over on the table. You're looking a little crazy, but we're getting there. Cut her out here. Of course, we'll actually round some corners if we do it out of metal. Let's just go for a test fit. Woo! That's good. Bop, boop. Check it out. 3-inch wide strap. Our bracket was 2 1/4. I ended up doing. So I just use this. That just makes it 1/4 inch longer, which just means even more strength. I like it. Tack her on. That'll make her nice and strong. Full weld that sucker up, guys. That is nice and strong. So these gussets on. Next up, we're gonna look at putting a gusset on our tabs and then somehow, boom, boom, putting some strength on it. Brace that up. We need a 2.5 by 2.5 square. 2.5 by 2.5. You didn't think that was it though, did you? Oh no, we are not Mortsky Repair. That's obvious because our line's actually straight. But the part that's gonna not be welded, 3 sides of this get welded. The side that's not gonna be, we're gonna take a brand new radius gauge, come in 1/16 from the end, mark that out. Took just a little more time, but that looks so much better than just a straight line. Right, well, it's not part of my original plan when I kind of half-pictured stuff in my head, was the idea of hanging tabs down, which works for our angle. Okay, we needed that Y-bone at a certain angle. We cover that in another video. But with that braced up, there's a ton of strength, but it also gives us a pad. And now I think we're gonna take some tubing, and we're gonna try to cut it in a way where we hit right there in the middle, and we brace over to our frame here at an angle. And then as that rear end kind of shoves forward on that Y-bone, and it puts pressure there, boom, that's stabilized. The further you hang your tabs off, and then when you push on it, guys, you gotta think you're using that leverage then to put a rotational kind of force on this as well. And honestly, that right there would probably never cause a problem. And if I'm being honest, I don't even think a piece in there is necessarily gonna look good. But if you know me, you know I ain't really mess with tubing a lot as far as like figuring out angles and stuff like that. So most of all, this is just good practice for me, and practice makes perfect. We're gonna start with taking a piece of that cross member we had cut out earlier. We'll just go try her on for size. I mean, yeah, that's kind of close. I know this is practice, but I'll be honest, I'm not too terribly picky. Just kind of eyeball that. We slice it with that saw, and then kind of see how we're doing. If we set that flat, where are we at? So this is the part that's kind of tricky, because if we put that on there where it's perfect, and we mark that over here, then when we cut it and try to spin it down, it can be perfect. Just kind of guessing again. That saw couldn't get to near the angle we needed, and that's okay. I'm gonna lob off just a little bit of it and then just see if our angles are even indexed correctly. Meaning if that goes down there, are we even starting to notch that the correct way? And the answer is no. I mean, look at that up there. Now we're totally wrong. Except I actually don't mind that, and we could probably recut that. So let's take a little more off this and get that a little further over, and then we'll recut that one. Just sat here and tuned this baby up with the grinder till I got it where I was happy with it. That'll do. Tack her in. Gotta step back and look at it. Yeah, that looks damn good. Look at that wild little firecracker. Just used our poster board again, guys. Where that's gonna go, put your radius on there. I done told you, looks better with it. Hit you with a little curveball on this one, huh? We're gonna break an angle here. Looking for about $1.35. Nailed it. This one's for a rear cross member. It's gonna provide a little bit of stability between those two, and it's also gonna tie all this down to the frame as well. And if I'm being honest, it's probably a little overkill, but that sits right there. 55.12 or 3, 55.0, 55.4. This thing's too finicky. Just make sure they match. Shoot, doggy! That baby's still glowing orange. Burn her in nice and good. Just give it the... Weld up this side, guys. Just weld the whole thing. Tons of strength. Looks good. And actually, it was pretty simple, huh? Hey, Ma, Puddin's smarter than he looks, even if he has to do stuff 4 times to get it right. A little more cleanup on the frame, and this thing is pretty well DUN. Where we had tacked that C channel on, our C notch, and 2 things up there, grind that down. Over here, my bed mounts I had built, I never ever was able to get in there and weld, so I just put a weld in there. And much other than that, guys, she's looking pretty good. I don't know if I'd showed y'all that after I welded it or not, but I'm pretty happy with how that all turned out. And guys, this is for a mini truck. Mini. What's this thing weigh? Soaking wet? 3,000 pounds if it's lucky. The way this stuff is built, this could be for full-size stuff. Woo-hoo! I guess that rear end's got to go to Gusset City too, don't it? Well, I guess since we need a new brake hose here, someone cut it. Then they accidentally cut that one. I guess we might as well cut this one down here too and just completely get that thing out of there. And actually, before I do any work on this rear end, I'm gonna get our spacers and bushings in these tabs, because with just a couple tack welds on them, if you smack that out there on accident, you can bend it pretty easy. But when all this stuff's locked together, it gets way more strength in it. I mean, we shouldn't be tearing it up, but we gotta put them in there to weld them anyhow. So might as well do it now. A little preventative maintenance maybe. Like I said, we're gonna cut that so it just has all new lines back here. But before we do, I'm gonna clean that up and we'll go ahead and weld that tab right there. Here we go. Get your brake line removal tool. And voila, she comes right off. The thing's real light, especially with those big old 17-inch steel wheels. Yeah. Some of y'all been wanting fabrication. You having fun yet? I bet you are having fun. You ain't the one hand cutting all these tabs. Just playing. I'm having fun too. This thing's turning out great.
They're great.
Hold on. Oh, forgot to take that off there. What am I doing? Damn rookie. Step one, gotta weld her up. At least this one we can do a little sitting on the job. Oh, that bracket got me. That weld's a little ugly. Sure, blame it on the bracket. Coming through. This is a lot of welding, guys. Full welding inside and out. We want her nice and burned in. I'm doing our lower link bars first, as you see. And now I'm starting to do our actual coilover mounts. And the reason I'm doing that is where these can actually start cooling down, just so I can then rob the nut off of that for the uppers. So that gives that a little cool down time. I've been working on my rear end all the livelong day. I've been welding on my rear end, working the time away. I've been working on my rear end. Never mind. For the coilover mounts full welded, I think we can go ahead and rob the nuts, maybe. Yeah, got a crescent wrench around here somewhere. Get the wrong tool for the job. There you go. That's a good sign. With the rear end flipped over, I'm gonna put my nuts up top. I really should start thinking about what I say. Yeah. Woo! Yep, been playing with my markers and poster board again. Check this unit out. I've never done anything like this. Usually I'll just brace these suckers, but I'm gonna tie that to that to that. You'd think we were putting a damn flatbed to haul goosenecks and stuff with this rig or something. All right, that's what we need, and we need to do it out of some 1/8 inch thick. This edge right here is missing. For that to be symmetrical to that point, we would actually need it to be a 1/4 inch wider, and that's because that's gonna sit on our tab. That's gonna give us a place to weld. That 1/4 inch was there, from there to there would be 3 inches, but that's missing. So just be sure to take a 1/4 inch or give you an imaginary 1/4 inch and then find center, basically. But if you actually look, you can see this side's smaller, but this will land it in center because that'll be weld. And then I put our radius right there from our cutoff wheel, and then we're gonna break it up there. So then I measured from there to there, find the center. That's how we know where to put our hole at. A little bit of geometry and calculus and you'll figure it out. Little soy sauce on there. For the hole size, I went 1.25 inches. Yeah. Boom, that dimples it. Now we gotta dye it. Plain, but what we do gotta do is flip that baby back over. That 1/8 inch thick is just a little much, but if you flip it and kind of press it back down, it seems to help flatten it out. There we go, flatten her back out nice. Now I doubt my sheet metal brake can bend this being that long. I mean, we'll try it, but we may tear something up. It's trying to. Woo! We may get it. Well, if you don't have one of those and you need to bend that, maybe y'all can see my mark. I was about to put a relief cut in there and just leave like a 1/2 inch on each end. Then you could bend it even with like hammer, and then you could weld that cut back up. Let's see how we're doing here. I think we're doing pretty good. We can probably break that just a hair more, and we may have to grind a little bit of that weld right there where that lays a little flatter there. So it needs a little more break. Yeah! I'm liking that. Now you can see where I'm talking about being able to put us a weld in there. That closed up good with that little extra bit of bend. We'll be able to put a weld there. Yeah! And guys, I'm not worried about full welding that, just because the amount of weld that would be on there would be so much. But just looking inside there, we'll put a weld, a weld, a weld. Oh, no! Yeah, we're losing it. Yeah, saved it. And then back here you can see weld, weld, full weld across the top. Nice weld right there. That is plenty. All of that now is boxed together. Our side to side strength and all that is just through the roof. Now we just got to look at adding something for this one. Inside to inside, we'll go about 1.5 inches, and something 4 inches will work. As you can maybe tell, traveling to whole Gusset City is not for the faint of heart. It takes a lot of hard work, nitty gritty hard work and determination. There's no easy road to get there, unless you have a CNC machine. 1.5 inches, I cut us enough for both sides. And we just gotta cut it down and radius this edge. Go! Thing tried to get me. Little devil bracket. Got some good news. Everything we did on that side, same templates, all that, worked perfect on this side. And the good news is, I guess y'all didn't have to watch it all. The only thing that was a little different was over here, our brake bracket, brake line bracket's right there. So our little piece, I just had to notch it. Just dropped Theodore off at his babysitter's. We are headed to Texas at 5 a.m. 7:40 at night. My girls just fed me. And we're still kicking, baby. I think we're real close to finally arriving at Gusset City. Got a little more pushing to do. Looks like we need one here and here. Get you straight edge. Get you some poster board. Right there's our basic shape. Let's go make her not so basic. At a radius. mark center. Then we need to measure from the bottom of the radius to where we're gonna break, which is 2 1/4. So split the difference, 1 1/8. Going a little bit smaller, just a 1 incher instead of an 1 1/4. Yeah! If your one ab starts to hurt, that's probably enough. Pop, pop, pop. No! Tried to get me again. Or poor break. I'm probably breaking it. Do-do. One quick modification. Now, our tabs up here are a little funky because we had to cut these ones as they traveled up the housing. So like this one here goes and it extends out past, which is why we're doing this break. This up here actually kind of falls flush. So that's why I cut that at an angle, so that'll overhang and then that'll go fall flush. And with any luck, that's gonna sit right in there pretty stinking good. And I'd say, yeah, that's pretty stinking good. Guys, we have done it. We have finally arrived at Gusset City. All passengers have successfully made it. Roll that forward, weld up the bottoms, and our trophy truck rear end is done. This thing looks like it's ready to go across the Baja and do some hill hopping. Baja! Baja blast! Woo! Now if only that gas tank would take itself out of there, this frame and rear end would clean itself and even get paint on itself. That'd be nice. We're actually spilling a little fuel here, which ain't good. We don't want to get sparks on that. Whew. Gas tank's out. Now, last week in a rush, I cut my parking brake cables, and I regret cutting them. Back here, we should have pulled these clamps and cut them up here. Now, let me tell you, my standards for this stuff being cleaned up before paint is pretty low, but I'm gonna give her a little effort. And my glasses are already fogging and I ain't even started working yet. Whew, guys, I didn't show a whole lot of that because, well, it ain't a lot of fun. Be sure to wear your safety glasses, especially these wire wheels, guys. I don't trust these things. That thing was flinging wires, popped me in the face. At one point I was bleeding. I got this way cleaner than I thought I was going to. Right, get some primer shooken up. Now for paint, I got the Duplicolor engine enamel, which as y'all probably know is my go-to. And it just sticks better, lays down better to primer. So I'm not worried about getting this plumb covered in a thick layer of primer. Even just something like that dusted on there, once that sets up, that paint will take way better to it. Now they only had 2 cans of this, so I stretched this 1 can as far as I could. That's all she's got. I mean, for a quick clean job, she don't look shabby. Get your baling wire out. We gotta set up a paint booth. She'll hold her link bars. They get a little more prep than the frame did. Gotta have them looking good. Y'all like this setup here? Yeah. there we go. There's my 30-minute clean job. She ain't perfect, but that's all she gets. Now I just gotta figure out how I want to set that sucker. There she is, guys. Whew, just made it in the nick of time. I was hoping to be done by midnight. I'm not. It's past midnight, but today was a big push. I don't know how this paint's gonna set up since it is kind of chilly out, but it'll have a few days to set up since I gotta go out of town. But I got where I wanted to, because now when I get back into town, hopefully all this will be dry. I'll be able to put all the actual bushings and stuff in that. We'll pop it all together, and y'all's gonna get to see her done, see her actually done. Well, man, oh man. Welcome back, guys, after that long, crazy day of thrashing on the suspension. Let me show you where I'm at. I'm not very happy. Now, you may be thinking, pudding, that looks great. Why are you unhappy with it? Well, I'm not unhappy with the work. I think it turned out phenomenal. Yesterday was my first day back in the shop. We'd been out of town for almost a week due to a situation I explained at the end of last week's video. I'm not gonna touch on it again because I'm trying to keep my eyes dry. But yesterday when I got back here, guys, the shop was a disaster. And I started off with this beautiful scene of all this B-roll showing you the huge mess. And we had all these scary noises and stuff that we were gonna put with it. And then as I cleaned the shop, took an hour and a half, hour 45. It was insane. It took that long to get this place clean. And then as I went to put this together, I was planning on just bolting everything together real quick. And I got to looking at our brake situation, and I decided we would just solve our brake situation yesterday, get it sorted, where everything was together for the final time, and I showed that process. The problem is I had about 3 videos to finish up yesterday, including that one, the main channel of last week's. I needed to make an ad for last week's. We had stuff going on with merchandise that was a mess, just all kinds of stuff, and my head was up my hind end, apparently. Because I thought I'd swapped out the battery and the memory card to then start recording the ads and endings of other videos. Apparently I did not. So I thought I had a fresh memory card in there. I delete the footage, and guess what? Come to find out, I deleted the footage of all the work I done yesterday. Whew, that's a tough pill to swallow. So luckily, it's not like we did a crazy amount of work, but we did do stuff I wanted to show you. And I could just run you through it real quick. It's not like you missed us actually building suspension. Obviously, all the stuff we built, everything bolts into place. This time, we use our grade 8 hardware with locking nuts on our link bars as well. On our suspension side of things, now we've got our poly bushings in there, and I made sure to grease them up good. Gave them a manual greasing with the finger. That's how I lube them up. And then you put your grease zerts in there, and now in the future, if we need to grease any of these, we can. So the big change was, or the big thing we did, I guess, mainly was addressing the brakes. I think I'd accidentally cut this side, and then I purposely cut this side. So I just cleaned up our factory tee, bolted it back in, and we build brake lines, which ain't uncommon. You've seen me do it several times. The thing that was big that we did was our load sensing proportioning valve thingy majigger. Throughout this build, you've seen me moving that thing. It had an arm that used to hang off. This valve mounts over here. The arm would come over here and it mounts off that bracket there. You've seen me take all that apart. So I finally researched that and what it's actually doing. And as that rear end, as you get on your brakes and the front hunkers down because your front does more of your stopping, that arm raises, and what it does is it actually allows some of the fluid from the front to come back here where it kind of evens out your braking. So in the moment adjustable proportioning valve, kinda. And a lot of folks just delete it. There's one T up at the master cylinder that you can plug, and then you take 2 of your lines back here and you can just run it through like a wheel would. I just kept ours because this truck was running, driving, stopping great before we took it apart. And what I did was cheap. It cost me about $1 in hardware. This little metal bracket right here was the metal bracket that used to bolt right there. I just cut it down and rounded a couple corners, and the whole pattern didn't match perfect, so this side I slotted it, and with that right there, it clamps it down and holds it good. From the factory, there's actually a little bracket here that holds our rubber hose and hardline set up here. So I unbolted it, I cut it off, and obviously just tacked it on right there. Well, actually I welded it. And then instead of this bending and going to itself, we just built a little line over to here, a little swoopity poopity, and that's good. And then with this lever right here, that's the lever that used to travel up and down to control the proportioning. Let me get a little lightification in the situation where you can see the brainification that I used for some brake control manipulation. This is a 1/4 inch little threaded screw. It had a Phillips head and it had a slot that was a flat head. And that piece in the middle is it's a fender washer. And I took a fender washer because it's bigger, and then it has that 1/4 inch small hole in the middle. And basically I cut that little tab out of a fender washer that you see there. And then I just welded it to the head of that screw. Then I took 2 more fender washers and did the same thing. I just made 2 more tiny tabs. So there's a tiny tab, there's a tab that goes to this, then there's a tiny tab. I bolted that together with a little 1/4-20 with a nylock, and those 2 little tabs, I welded it to that arm for the proportioning valve. Then underneath here, I've got 2 nuts, one acting as a jam nut. Up top, I've got a nylock. And basically what I've done here is I've used an old bracket and a buck worth of hardware and built just a adjustable proportioning valve. Because now when we go to drive this thing, if we get on it and it's way too much brakes to the front, we should be able to tighten this up back here, pick up on that arm, and it should balance it out. And you know, we may have to tune it a time or 2, but from what I remember, I think mine was sitting at an angle about like that before I took anything apart. So I'm thinking we're gonna be good. If we ain't good, we can loosen those nuts and tighten it up some and adjust it out until we get it good. And now we ain't got to worry about having a goofy arm. We don't have to order more parts, whatever. We'll run it and it'll work or it won't. And it worked out good to mount to our gas tank mount that I'd built. And guys, it just looks good. This looks good. Last thing I did was our wiring came in this little plastic trough, I guess. That's not just wrapped up wiring. And even over here, it worked out good where it does this little swoop down. So that swoop, and then it kind of comes back up. And the plastic clips that were on there, they were all broken. But that plastic tab was a perfect spot just to put a self-tapper. And I just put a self-tapper in that clip, and you can even see back here like that. And that just holds it, guys. That's gonna work good. Now we've got our wiring and a whole lot of it to go back to our lights and all that. Gas tank bolts right back in, hooks right back up. I had one broken wire on our fuel level sender, so I soldered it, and a little heat shrink there you can see. And she is very low on gas, but that needle is moving. Oh yeah! She's a runner, mother liquor. There is one thing I did not get to do that we can do this morning together. The last thing I need to figure out, the only thing holding us up from driving is bleeding brakes and a drive shaft. Drive shaft being the main thing I'm worried about. I looked up our drive shaft online as far as a replacement U-joint goes, and it looks like these things take a 1310 U-joint. Well, Southwest Speed and Custom, who keeps drive shafts in stock within a 1/2 inch interval, they also use a 1310 U-joint. So I think we can do some measuring and figure out how or which one of theirs we can order, and then we'll just have to swap on our yoke and our rear yoke. I think they sell theirs with just a 27 spline, and this one to me, well, I don't know if it matters, but that one and that one looks keyed. Maybe I should count these. maybe it don't matter. Yeah, I'm counting like 21 splines here, so we're gonna have to use this yoke and the rear one for sure. So we should be able to order it based off our measurement between the center of this U-joint and the center of where that U-joint should be. So we need to get the rear suspension loaded, meaning we need some weight on it. And in fact, we probably need even a little more weight to help compress it some to make up for like the bed. Because as this cycles down, technically that rear end is going forward, so we need to account for that. Jack it up, making sure the weight's on the suspension. We're not picking up on the chassis. Get some jack stands underneath there, or in case that decides to go bloop when I'm underneath there, it'll catch it. And like I said, we need some extra weight towards the back preferably. Here's how to professionally measure for your drive shaft. Oh, it's working. There you go. It's like adult Legos. Shop Tetris. Oh, someone cut that parking brake. Whoever did that, I'm not sure. Come on, baby. Come on. Tight fit. I'm talking about me, not the drive shaft. There we go. We want to bottom it out. I think Theo got concerned. He's going to pull me out if he needed me to. All right. Well, there we go. You can see the problem here. Now, this is bottomed out, so we do need to come back some to allow for some slip in that. I think generally speaking, people say about 5/8 of an inch. So this is a little eyeball work, but we got to make sure this flange stays as parallel with this flange as possible. And right there, I'm getting 3 1/16. I think we need to go 3 1/8. See, and then down there, I'm like 3 1/2. So I got to get that matching a little closer. We should be looking about probably 3 1/4, 3 1/4. So if we subtract 5/8 from our 3 1/4, 1/2 inch get you there. Another 1/8 inch get you to 2 5/8. And 2 5/8 is how much longer we need a drive shaft, measuring off of this one from center of U-joint to center of U-joint. 51 1/2. We gotta add our 2 5/8, and that's gonna total us 54 1/8. Now they sell them in 1/2 inch increments, so we'll probably go 54 inches, and that 1/8 inch, that's gonna change our stick out of the yoke from 5/8 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch, which is still fine. Hopefully that made sense, and hopefully it works out and it's making sense up here. So that's it, guys. I'll get that on order, and the next go around on this truck, hopefully we'll be able to get some more of that done. And it's smart to do it that way, because that suspension may compress a little more with the actual weight on there, and the more it compresses, the more it goes forward. So that extra 1/8 inch there, probably gonna be just perfect actually. Guys, I hope you like it. Let me get this water off here. Personally, I love it. This turned out better than I expected in my head. Not that I was purposely gonna build something that looked terrible, but y'all know I tried to relocate the gas tank because I was worried about stuff being too tight. And the way this all just worked out, it worked out better than I expected. For as simple as that cross member is to build, and this little tank bracket here, and then it gives you a place for that, and everything just works and fits. We're reusing some leaf spring hangers and everything. It looks super simple. It really is super simple, but all the gussets and everything, guys, makes it look, I don't know, just well crafted. A beautiful craftsman handcrafted this right here in Pot County. The Pot County legend himself, guys. So I appreciate y'all watching, appreciate you being here. I hope y'all enjoyed the suspension build on this thing, and I am super ready to get this thing on the road. We are so close, and I guarantee you we're gonna get her on the road, and she is gonna ride. Oh, so good. So thank y'all for being here. puddins.fab.shop.com for all that good quality merchandise we released last week. We may have some, we may not, you know. It may have flew out the door like Theo's stuff and flew out his bunny rabbit. What'd you do to that thing? Dude, you can't tear it up no more than it's already tore up. I'm on the Instagrammer, I'm on the Patreon, I'm on the Facebooker, and I will see you guys next time. However, do not forget, sitting on your ass will not finish your project. We'll see y'all in the next one.